All right, now it's time for an exercise. I want you to design two objects. One is HTML element, and the other is HTML select element, which represents a drop-down list. We have prototypical inheritance between HTML select element and its parent, which is HTML element. Now see how these objects behave. I'm going to define a constant and set it to a new HTML element. Let's inspect this object. So in this object, we have one method, click. In its prototype, we have another method, focus. The implementation of these methods is very simple, just a console.log statement. What is important here is that we have one instance or own method and one prototype method. So we'll start with this object. Implement it, test it, make sure it works. So we can call e.click and we get this message, and e.focus, we get this message. Once you have HTML element, go ahead and create HTML select element. Let's see how that object behaves. So I'm going to define another constant, send it to a new HTML select element. Now here in the constructor, we can optionally pass an array of items, but we don't have to. If we don't pass anything here, it will be initialized to an empty array. Let's inspect this object. So here we have this items property, which is initialized to an empty array. We also have two methods, add item and remove item. I can call s.addItem and add one here. Let's add two as well. Now we remove two, remove item two. Let's inspect it one more time. So in this items array, we only have one item, one, okay? Now, what is important here is that this HTML select element inherits from HTML element. So let's look at its prototype. This prototype is an instance of HTML element object. Remember, our HTML element objects have two methods. One is click, which is an instance or own method, and the other is focus, which is a prototype method. So this is the tricky part of this exercise. I want you to pay great attention to this part. So do not use the extend function that we created earlier in this section. I want you to manually set the prototype for HTML select element. You should set that to an instance of the HTML element object because the click method is on the instance. If you set the prototype of HTML select element to the prototype of HTML element, you would only get the focus method because this is defined on the prototype. So go ahead, spend about 20 to maximum 30 minutes on this exercise, and next you will see my solution.